How does an organization stay true to their core values in the face of external pressures?
Hmm. All right. Something I think we should talk about more is organizational values. For some reason, this is not being discussed. It used to be a topic that was very common and very frequent. And just because people talked about values didn't necessarily mean they were happening, but it's at least a nice indicator that values are on people's mind. It concerns me greatly that we don't talk about values as much. And I think that might be because it gives people wiggle room to do what if I don't have values to live up to, then I can pretty much do anything. But then that's also called the lack of accountability. So for me, values are extremely important. How do we keep them at the front of the organization? Like I said, it's not enough to just say we have values. It's not just enough to say what the values are, but how do we bring them to life and how do we make them part of something? And I think the first question is just looking at you right now. Do you know your values of your organization? Yes or no? And then if it's a yes, do you believe them? Do you practice them? Do you experience them from others? Does your boss practice those values with you? These are all really good questions to think about. And then where does it begin? Where do values begin? And I think the answer is it does begin with you, right? But then how do we get it on the mind of the entire organization? And this is a function of leadership, more in the terms of the formal authority. This is a function of authority then, is to make sure that the values have been articulated, that they are clear to everybody. How about this? How about talking about them during your recruitment and interviewing? About asking people when you check references, maybe make it based on the values. Tell me a time that you saw the person practice this value or not, I know that's unusual. I know people don't go through those steps like they used to, but if you want a culture where the values are practiced, I think it really is those two things. It's people who run the organization, the authority. I know I want to say leadership, but it actually isn't it could be people who are leaders, but it actually is people who are authorities, the CEO, and the chief executives. They are the ones who should be articulating and framing the values, making sure they're living it for themselves, and then making sure that the organization is recruiting for those values and instilling them everywhere between the recruitment and the C-suite. There's a lot that can be done. It's actually not a secret, a lot of the things that can be done to make sure that values are discussed and practiced. And that's what I want to say. Practice is such a key word, not perfection, practicing the values. Let me try it. I'll get it wrong sometimes, but let me try it. Oh, it's foreign to me. This wasn't a value of mine, to be honest. Okay, but I'll try it. I'll practice it. And that's what we're trying to do. Values should be the ground upon which everyone in the organization agrees to meet. We all come from different backgrounds, different families. We all have different things that are important to us. But when we join an organization, we're saying, I agree to abide by the mission and the values. And to me, that's what the purpose of the organization is, the mission of the organization and the values. But we lump it together. We say purpose. It's a function of leadership to make sure that the values are cared for, articulated and cared for within the institution.